All right, it's great to have back on the show one of my favorites, Josh Dubow, 20th season covering the NFL. And in his time covering the Raiders, he got very used to checking out future schedules in late December, as he just told me. But he's been covering the Niners again this year, almost a decade covering the Niners. And I think we're going to see one of those graphs that comes out at the end of the month, and it'll be from tankathon.com. That shows you, where all the teams are drafting, and it'll be like geolocations, the most searches for tankathon.com, and it'll be California Niner fans. Here we are. Can't believe we're here, but this is what we're here. We're talking about the future schedule, so here we are.
There we go.
All right, so one thing that's great about Josh is that if I make anything that even is close to a mistake, he'll send me a very nice message and say, I'm not sure if that's correct. And so I want to bring you on because the kind of the inner workings, the machinations of the NFL schedule, and a bunch of other things that happen around the NFL as well as anybody. And so I put out on Monday that the Niners' future schedule looks like Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Bucks, Colts, Texans, Jags, Titans. That we know, that's locked in. And then either a third or fourth place game against the NFC North, the NFC East, and the AFC North. Meaning that finishing in fourth place means you play the Bears, the Giants, the Browns. Finishing in third place likely means the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Bengals. So there's a difference in those things. Is this decided already? Is this accurate? What are your
Well,
thoughts
the NFC
on
North and NFC East is definitely accurate. That's been locked in since realignment 2002. The 17th game was like a 4-year agreement. The last I had been told, where they had the rotation, which would be the AFC North team against the Niners. I had not known that it was renewed, but according to the Record and Fact Book, that is who they're playing next year. I don't know if that's 100%, or if the Record and Fact Book is just assuming it, but they have it with the same formula going forward. I heard there was a chance that they might try to redo it, so the division matchups would change so that AFC North would not host the NFC West team in the extra game each rotation. But I think they decided they'd rather keep it evidently and keep the rotation the same.
Okay.
So, which would be very good for the Niners if they do come in fourth place, because you would definitely think the Cincinnati Cleveland is definitely one of the bigger probably differences.
Quick interruption to tell you this video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Appreciate the sponsor. And you can check it out by going to prizepicks.com. Use the code GUY when you sign up. Make a $5 lineup and immediately get $50 into your account. Right now, I'm adding a little basketball to my latest lineup. I'm putting Nikola Jokic. Nicolo? Nick, I don't know who Nicolo is, but I'm putting the Joker in more than half a point. You get him right now at just half a point, more than half a point. That's easy. More than half a point for Jokic. I got Knicks more than half a passing touchdown. Thursday Night Football, Ladd McConkey more than 65.5 receiving yards, and Justin Herbert more than 12.5 rushing yards. That's $5. It pays $32. You can do more. Make lineups of up to 6 players at prizepicks.com. Use the code GUY, make a $5 lineup, and immediately get $50 into your account. For people watching, the AFC North is covered up here on the screen, but it's there. The AFC North is the third team. So is this year 4? Are we completing year 4 of the 17th game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, year 4. Yeah, 2021 was the first, and the Niners went to Cincinnati that year for the extra game.
Right.
So the last time the Niners came in last, their easy fourth place schedule gave them a game against the Bengals, who went 10-7 and went to the Super Bowl, the Eagles, who went 9-8 and won the wild card, and the 7-10 Falcons, who they got killed by. But so you never know. The fourth place schedule is not, like right now it looks like okay. That you'd rather play Cleveland, the Giants, and Chicago over Green Bay, Dallas, and Cincinnati, but you do never know in the NFL.
No, Liam Cohen might do a hell of a job with the Bears next year.
There you go. I still believe in Caleb.
Or whoever. Yeah, I've been Team Caleb. Now's not the time to jump off.
Sanders in the Giants, Cam Ward in the Giants.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, really, like you might be. That's the way I look at these schedules. Somebody said to me, "Oh, well, are you sure you want to play Cleveland? Like that's a really good defense, and obviously they have a very good coach." But I just look at schedules as quarterbacks.
Yeah,
right.
Quarterback and coach. It's really that's the constant.
And so this future schedule, and you're saying, and by the way, you said the NFL. What did you say? The fact book. What
the
for people who don't?
Book.
which is what?
It's like their media, basically the NFL's media guide.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
This, I'm sure we'll have time in the off season to really, I know if anybody will, it'd be you to dig into this thing. But this looks like one of the lamest schedules for ticket resellers, but one of the best schedules for a team trying to bounce back from a bad year.
You would think, definitely on the face of it, it does. I think if you're looking at that schedule, assume it's the fourth place teams. If you're the third place teams, Green Bay, Dallas, Cincinnati could be problematic. But if you're in the fourth place schedule and the fourth place teams stay the same, that's definitely looking like, Houston could be good. You would think. But the two South divisions are probably the two worst divisions in each conference. So getting those as your two divisions, and it seems that Cleveland's not going to have a good quarterback next year. You would think. It's Deshaun or it's someone cheap. They're not. They can't spend. The Giants, you're looking at probably a rookie quarterback, and the Bears, you're looking at a new coach. Caleb could still be. That could be a slightly tough game, but it's not looking. This is not getting Kansas City as your 17th game that we got this year. Yeah. So, it's definitely a little different.
In terms of road and home, is there any way to? Do we know that yet? Will we know that?
Yeah, so the AFC North and NFC East will be on the road, and the NFC North will be at home. So the Bears would come here. Caleb would come here again, and they'd go. So it does give them two cross-country trips, Giants and Cleveland. So it gives, and potential cold weather games, which bad weather is not the best thing for Brock, as we've seen.
Do we know that definitively at this point?
Definitively, no, but it sure seems it, right? Anecdotally, sure. It's a few games now. It's absolutely Cleveland last year. Thursday night was awful. And then the Green Bay playoff game, he definitely was not. He struggled during the rain part of that game. Is it definitive? I guess not. But if I were betting on Brock being better in dry weather or wet weather, I'd bet.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I'm still open-minded to the fact that just we haven't seen a lot of it. He hasn't done a lot of it. He didn't do a lot of it in college. Okay, I'm sorry. You said AFC North is road.
AFC
right?
North, the AFC gets the ninth home game, and the NFC East is road.
NFC East is road. Okay, got it.
And the NFC North is the home game.
Oh, NFC North, got it.
Right. So Chicago would be home again if it's Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, this is. As we know this year, and as we always know, these things are not played on paper, but the reward for a bad year for them, the schedule might be a much greater reward than their draft pick will turn out to be.
Oh, the difference between, how big a difference is it between picking 10th or 12th or 16th or 17th, but the difference between the third and fourth place schedule is tremendous, at least on paper right now. And, obviously, again, it could, Joe Burrow could get hurt in week 3 and, you could be playing Cleveland in a snowstorm in December. Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward could be the best rookie quarterback in the league, and the Giants could be good. Obviously things can happen, but definitely on the face of it, and just the other one, just playing the two South divisions is definitely positive. But obviously everyone in the division gets that. But in terms of getting wild card or home field advantage or buys or things like that, having the two South divisions is a lot easier than playing, the two North divisions, for instance.
Yeah. The other thing, I don't know where we've talked about this. I'm not sure where you fall. You and I and John Dickinson did a big show before the season on the schedule. And one thing we talked about a lot was, rest days. Rest days has been a big topic for the Niners. It'll be a big topic when the schedule comes out. It'll be interesting to see with this schedule. Now, the Niners and the Rams, or the Niners and the Seahawks, like there's a prime time or maybe two primetime games in there somewhere, being on the West Coast. And, there's sometimes those doubleheader games. Could the Niners be relegated to a Monday night doubleheader? I hope not. But it'll be interesting to see how many primetime games exist for a 500 or a sub 500 49er team against a schedule that doesn't have a ton of, blue chip NFL ratings.
Yeah, I still think you're looking at 4 or 5. For whatever reason, the NFL loves to run the Giants in prime time.
Okay.
So Chicago obviously could be, the 3 division teams obviously could be Houston, Tampa, Jacksonville. They're definitely enough. Kirk Cousins' comeback game to Atlanta when he's the Niners quarterback next year.
Stop.
That could be, well, come on.
Kirk Cousins at this rate is going to be in the G League next year. I mean,
it did not look good, but then, that's the Raider defense. Like, that's not easy to go up against. Like,
that's true. That's true. We give them a break on that.
No.
Yeah.
But so now the key though is looking at the I'm trying to figure out the tiebreaker with if the Niners beat the Cardinals, how that tiebreaker is going to go. Because if the Cardinals lose to the Rams, lose to the Niners, and I think they have Carolina this week. Is that right?
Yeah, they do.
Right. So if they go 8-9 that way, and if the Niners, let's say, win this week and beat Arizona and lose to Detroit, they'd both be 2-4 in the division. They'd be 1-1 head-to-head. And I think the Niners would have a better conference. So I think the Niners might be common opponent would come next.
Common opponent, right?
No, all common opponents. So the 4
all common opponent. Okay.
Right. So it's basically the 2 divisions. It's basically the 2 divisions that the West played. Because the division their own division is tied. So it's so the Niners would have been, they beat Miami. It would be 3-1 against the East.
Arizona beat Miami as well.
They beat Miami, lost to Buffalo, lost to the Jets in New England, right?
Lost to Detroit.
Right. They lost to Detroit.
The Niners haven't played that game yet. Right.
This would be the Niners losing to Detroit. I don't know. I have to break that down. But yeah, that could come down. That tiebreaker could be tight with Arizona. That could be a big game there. That week 18, it could be a lot to watch there.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, at this point, I look at it and think, who's going to be the best team the Niners play next year? Let's just say they get 3rd place and Green Bay's on their schedule and Cincinnati's on their schedule and Dallas is on their schedule. It could be Houston. We'll see how this season finishes. It could be the Rams. I've been really impressed with just the way they've pulled it together this year. They drafted well this year. Who knows? Maybe they'll draft well again next year. What would you bet there?
Well, the thing with the Rams is it just seems like health is such a big deal for that. Like, you get them. Now, granted, the Niners lost them with no Puka and no Cooper Kupp in week 3, and that didn't help them. But I would probably say Houston. You got to think that they'll fix the offensive line a little bit. That defense is really good. D'Amico's got the defense playing well. I still believe in CJ. I would think Houston is probably the toughest out of those, right?
Yeah, I mean, that feels like that could be an early primetime game next year.
Yeah.
And for good reason.
Could Jacksonville be good if they get the right coach? Possibly, but they still need a lot of help. Tampa keeps doing it, like with Baker, but again, like I'm not like the Derek Carr led Saints. If Carr is back, like that could be.
Where's he gonna be next year?
I don't know. They've got. It's curious. His injury could be curious because he's got a $30 million injury guarantee. So depending on how serious that wrist injury is, if he, that could be one where he's gone, where they're stuck with him on that. I think there's a chance he's back. Like the dead money is awful for them if they cut him or trade him. They've pushed so much money into the future, and they're not. I don't think they're going to be in position to draft a quarterback. I think it'll depend a little bit on who the new coach is. But I think Rizzi's got it sounds, I don't know, from following the New Orleans people, it sounds like Rizzi has a chance of keeping that job, which would probably increase Derek's chances of staying for another year. He hasn't actually, he hasn't played that bad this year. He's been fine. The team just needs a lot of help. So I could see them running it back with him in another year. Who else is available for them, really?
Well, what's Minnesota going to do?
Right, but the Saints can't pay Darnold. So, like,
who can?
Who can?
Like what? Tennessee, yeah.
You got to figure Tennessee, the Giants. If it's only 2 quarterbacks that are at the top of the draft, if it's just Shedeur and Cam, that's Tennessee, Giants, and Raiders are getting 2 of those 3 guys, presumably. Maybe Cleveland is getting in there, and then whoever doesn't could be in the market for Sam. Minnesota could tag him though too. Like they've got a ton of cap room. They could tag him for a year and keep him. They could try to sign him. They could try to sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal, figuring, you know what, we don't know how JJ is going to be. Play him for a year, compete for a year, and then if we have to trade Sam in a year, if the contract's reasonable enough, he's probably tradable.
You wouldn't go from Geno to Sam Darnold, would you, if you were Seattle?
I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I don't think so either. But
it just seems too similar.
yeah.
Yeah, like Tennessee's the interesting one. If they play Jacksonville still, so they could play themselves out of that top pick stuff. I could be interested. I don't know if the Giants want to bring him to New York. Like,
see, I feel like you can't do. It's weird to say that. It doesn't seem right to say it. I guess it would depend on the quarterback, but I mean on the coach.
Yeah, but it just seems Tennessee.
Tennessee's probably a good fit.
Yeah, probably makes the most sense. They've got it. But then you're going from throwing to J.J. Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson with Kevin O'Connell calling plays to throw into who? Like, that's what, I also wonder, like, if Sam's like, you know what, like, I could sign a reasonable contract with Minnesota and either stay there or get traded. Maybe get a no trade in the contract. Maybe take less money to get a no trade where you can then control where you go.
You know what I think his move is hang in Minnesota until Stafford retires and then go to McVay.
Or Miami with two. There are going to be some spots with better coaches and better teams opening up, I think, than there are. The question is whether Minnesota want. If Minnesota's like, we're all in on JJ, we don't want to pay Sam $40 million a year to come back, it might not be an option.
Yeah,
I think that'll depend on how if they go. I think it's top seed. They went out there the top seed. It's a lot different. They go to the championship game. It's a lot different than if they're the wild card and they lose to Tampa or the Rams in the first round.
Yeah.
I think at that point, maybe you move on. But if you win a couple playoff games, it gets hard, right? Like, it's hard to. I guess they moved on from Case Keenum after they went to the championship game in 2017, but this is a little different.
There's one other place with a cheap quarterback that no, we won't. We won't talk. We won't go there. Although Baldy did.
Baldy was throwing that one out there on the internet today.
Yeah.
So, but
all right, Josh Dubow, the AP. It's always great to have you, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sending corrections into guy at heyguy.co.
Yeah, you were right, but yes, but I'm always here to fact check you.
You always watch. What's funny is I almost issued a correction on Monday and I was just too busy to do it, and then it turns out it took care of itself.
Took care of itself, it looks like. So
thanks for doing the research for me.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you later.
All right, see you, man.
Yeah, man.